Candice. To the Bang Lisboa, I am super happy to be back with you all again. It's a delight to be able to get inspired by each other and also inspire back to all of you. And as I said this morning and looked back and reflected on yesterday, there were so many impressions, so many things that we also have in common. And you'll see that I present maybe some of the same things that some speakers have already talked to. But there was a couple of things for me that stood out personally yesterday. And I was sitting there and really thinking about something that Candice opened with. And it was about the brand. That one really set with me, that you got to think about your brand. And I thought, what about me personally? That branding, because Candice talked about the GBS brand, but what about me, my brand? And then Angela followed up about the purpose. And I thought, wow, I got to think about my purpose here as well. Who am I? What is it that I stand for? And then I was digging really deep. And I found out in the conference last year that was, I'm the guy with the duck. That is me. That's what I'm known for. I can tell you, if I got a penny for every time some of you have come up to me and said, what a great presentation, I love that duck, I would be rich. Nobody really remembered all the things I said about the center office and so on, but they remember the duck. So this year we are going to play it a little bit differently. You will see, some of you, that we do have a little Lego box for you underneath the seats. And you are very welcome to unpack it. This year, it's all up to you. You can build whatever you feel like. I would encourage you to follow your heart. Build something in the moment. Maybe something that has a flavor of digital, as of course we talk a lot about this at this year's conference. Maybe just something fun. Fun is a key value in the Lego group, something we really care about. So, and I will just give you this little cliffhanger. There might be a little surprise at the end. So if you are a daring builder and wants to come and show me this in the end, I might pick one of you and then we see what happens. Before we do this, I will tell you that my presentation this year will be about the journey that we have been on. We are about 2 years into our center office journey, and a lot have transpired since we started. A lot have happened in the Lego group as well. We are not standing still. We are moving super fast. And of course, with this comes a big demand for the GBS to follow along. So I will talk about all of this. Before we go there, let's start with the world of play in the Lego group and watch a little video. There you have it. That's daily life at the Lego Group. Maybe it was a little bit too loud for some of you if you partied a little bit too much yesterday, but I hope you liked it. Well, I promise you that I will talk a bit about the center office and what we have done. Before we go there, I will just give you a little insight to what has been going on in the LEGO Group. We are investing heavily in the future. We are building the innovative play experience for the kids stronger and stronger. And we are also expanding rapidly in our retail ecosystem because we want to give all of you and all the kids around the world a special experience when it comes to coming into our shops. We also know when people visit our shops, they actually later on buy more. We don't care if they buy in the shops or if they buy online. We have a very strong online presence. We also invest a lot in both sustainability and digital transformation. Of course, when your product is made out of plastic, you must do something about this long term, and that's exactly what we do. And we look at the entire supply chain, and we have already made use also some paper bags, so we are making an impact already. But to replace the little brick takes a little bit longer, but we're working on that as well to see what material we can find in the future. And we are doing all of this really wanting to make a positive impact on society and for the kids of the world. Now, as we look at how we use digitalization in the LEGO Group, about 4 years back, we were behind. We had a lot of technology debt that we sort of had to pay back. And that's what we have done now. Now we believe we have come so far that actually it is a competitive advantage for us. We are segmenting into these 4 areas with the consumers that plays with us, shoppers that shop with us, partners that collaborate with us, and finally colleagues that works with us. We want to give that special product digital experience to everybody. And that's what we are working on, and that's what we are investing in. You will also notice that we have a little logo up there, Epic Games. It's a new thing for us. We have recently partnered up with Epic Games. They are known for, among other things, Fortnite. I'm not a gamer myself, but I happened to meet one of the executives the other day, and I tell you, that's a whole new world, and we want to understand that world in the LEGO Group. It is where the kids are spending a lot of time, as we all know, but it's also time to get in to this new area called the metaverse. And this is what the LEGO Group wants to do. We want to come in early on so that we can impact this. Kids' safe play is super important to us. So this is one of the reasons we are with Epic Games, to come in early on and make the metaverse a safe place for kids. Now let's get to the GPS and the connection with the overall LEGO strategy. We took a decision a couple of years back in the GPS. We call ourselves, by the way, BSO, so Business Service Organization. So if you happen to hear me say that, that's our GPS. We laid out a strategy. We actually consulted with Deloitte, and we wanted to make sure that we could stay relevant in the future. We did a lot of work, and we searched with our stakeholders about what it was that they wanted to get out of us in the years to come. We ended up having 4 strategic priorities that we are working with all the way till 25. Compelling engagement have to do with talents, getting the best community for our talents inside the GPS. Awesome experience has to do with our stakeholders, making sure that we listen, that we get the stakeholders' agendas to be our agenda, and that we move closer and closer to them. And finally, expert insight and enhanced speed. Of course, delivering that unique value to the stakeholders is how we stay relevant. And that's exactly what we're working on. I will talk to enhanced speed today, go much deeper in that, and give you some examples of a case that we have recently done and some of the early findings we have. And of course, all of this is nicely put together in one plan that is closely linked to the LEGO Group's priorities. So I talked earlier about investing, and you cannot go on a digital transformation like what we have without investing heavily. And that's what we have done. We have invested in a lot of modern tools for the GPS. It's not easy always to convince our executives about the right investments and how we will actually later on harvest enough that this is a good business case. But that's exactly the work that we have done. We have most of the systems that we need now, but we need to utilize them much more and get the full benefits of them. You see, we have our 3 priorities up here, exactly the same as the Lego Group's priorities. I will mainly talk about digitalization, but of course sustainability is also moving up our radar screen because we gotta be prepared for what's coming here, especially in the ESG area. Other speakers have mentioned talents, and of course, that's the value add. That's where all the value add is coming from. And it is important to stay tuned on this. Find out what it is that people need so that they stay with us. They stay hungry and they stay with us as a company. And that's exactly what we do. We have a very low attrition and we have a very high percentage to attract new people to the Lego Group. We care a lot about our employees. We help each other a lot. And then you see on the focus, one of the other speakers also talked about efficiency and effectiveness. Might be a little old. I heard that before. The reason it's super important for the Lego Group is that we are growing very fast. And about 5 years back, we also had several years of fast-moving pace and growth, and we actually forgot about efficiency and effectiveness. So there we had to actually take a pause and find out how do we make sure that we can move with speed and communicate clearly throughout the organization. We actually had to get rid of 1,400 jobs. This was a shock to our group. Never tried that before, at least it was many, many years ago since we tried something similar. We want to avoid that this time. We continue to see the growth, but we want to make sure that we in the GPS help with this. I feel we are uniquely positioned to actually go and combat this. With all the modern tools, find out where in the streams you have inefficiencies. Lay it out with data. Discuss it with the business leaders around the Lego Group, and then start to attack the areas that might have a low automation rate, very high manual rate, or maybe it's compliance that is not up to the level. And then you see the last E up here of the 3 E's, experience. That is something that we will never let go. We have also decided a couple of years back that we will have 3 business account managers. The only thing they focus on every day is being the glue between the GPS and the stakeholders out in the business. They fight the fight for the stakeholders when they are inside the GPS, and they explain how we can help them when they are out and about with the stakeholders. That has been a game changer for us. And of course, they're not the only one that cares about this. We have it all over the GPS. We measure it every year. We have an NPS survey going on. We are also starting with live NPS now. And I'm proud to say that it's 54 last time we measured it. So for sure, this is something that we are progressing quite nicely. But we're not taking it for granted. It's something that we need to we're only as good as what we have delivered today and tomorrow. This one can quickly slip unless we really keep focusing on it. I promised you that I will talk about enhanced speed, and here we go. It is one of our key strategic pillars. When we ask our stakeholders, what do you want from us? Speed and automated solutions always come up on top. So for sure, this is something that we keep working with, and today we don't implement any system in the GPS, or for that sake in the Lego Group, without it being agile. So we also want to signal that we want speed also in our implementations. We want quick payback. We want to show that it's not just something that you can harvest in 3 years' time, it's now. And then we also combine the systems. And this might be obvious to all of you, but we actually started with robotics, and then we went to other best-of-breed systems. Now they all talk together. We combine them. Recently, we had a price increase, probably like a lot of you have had to do because of the inflation. Well, all of that was actually set up with the systems talking together. There was almost no manual interventions in this. So an incredible thing that normally is very manual, that this year was fully automated. We have a lot of data, and I think we have that in common. GPS is in charge of a lot of data, again, uniquely placed in the company to do something with the data, and that's what we do. We find now that we have provided enough insight that we have license to operate to much more complex problem settings that we are helping the business solve. And we are going truly end-to-end with this, with processes like process mining and task mining and so on. So it's a very important tool for us that give us access to move, again, even further closer to the stakeholders out and about in the business. And this is the one I want to talk to you about. In the beginning of this year, we decided that we want to run a pilot. The pilot was in order to cash. The business leaders have come to us and said, we feel there's something that is not working well for us. They could see sometimes the credit limits was sort of at the max, and customers was not always as happy with sort of how quickly they could we could respond to this. So we did a full end-to-end analysis. Again, here we asked Deloitte to help us, and we use data mining for this, but we also put task mining on top. We wanted to make sure that we could see not only in the core system, which is SAP for us, but also in all the other subsystems, which systems are the people that is running this process actually using? What are they cutting in and out of? And there were some concerns. It took a little longer to get started because we ran into GDPR. People were a little bit nervous about software on their computers, what will happen here. But we explained the why several times, and we got through this. We got the most amazing result. We actually have now, a situation where we could go end-to-end to the business and tell them, for example, on claims, we were only 5% automated. And we could see that it took way too long to actually get a credit note cut to our customers. So we could understand why the business felt as they did. We could also see when we receive orders, we have about 850,000 orders in the Lego Group. Well, we touch them manually about 980,000 times. This is not where we want it to be. So now we have the data, and we presented them to the business leaders that could actually do something about it. And we have then started to take all these value pockets one by one and focused on them. We are working with HighRadius to completely revolutionize the claims process, and we will go to Cash App just after that to make sure that it's either fully automated or it's automated as it makes sense. And this gave us really license to come back to, in this case here, our markets and channels that absolutely love us. They were used to us paying the bills and making sure that we were safe in the background. Now we're in the foreground with them. And they have asked us back. We are, instead of us pushing onto them, we are being asked to join them. We are being asked to give updates on what's the next thing Morten and team can do for us. So it's a super good place to be. Now, some of the early result in that project is that we have actually cut the time. We are looking at cutting the time 50% from when a claim comes into the Lego Group and until we have cut the credit note. 50%. We are also cutting away between 20 and 40% of the manual work that is being done and reassigning that to other more value-added work. So it's two very high ambitions that we are setting ourselves up for, but we can see on the early results that we are getting there. And of course, with process mining, the world is at our feet, and we are not stopping there. We have already started to look at record to report, where the intercompany process could benefit from a little bit upgrading so that we don't have to touch that. And that's the data that we now have. We know where sort of the problem lies. So for sure, this is something that we believe strongly in, and that give us access to actually talk closely to the business and give them information they don't have today. That's all about the insights. And when I look back at this year, that of course has been quite a challenging year, also just to stay up with the growth in the Lego Group. A lot of the priorities haven't changed from last year. I would say my top ones is stakeholders and talents, not a surprise to any one of you. Personally, I take about between 60 and 70 meetings, skip meetings with my leaders every year. It's just me and the leader's leader. I get a lot of insight from what's going on. Maybe it's the motivation that is not as high as we want. Maybe it's a good idea that they just want to talk to me about and hear if I like it. I really enjoy these skip meetings. And on the stakeholders, of course, we have all our ambassadors all over the GPS, but I also have certain stakeholders that I talk to one-on-one. They are senior stakeholders in the company, and I want to make sure that I have access to them and they have access to me. Sometimes it's just 20-minute talk, where we just sit and talk. What have you heard? Sometimes they tell me, Morten, I've heard nothing. I said, that's the best compliment I can ever get, because that means that all the processes are working as intended. And sometimes they have some advice for me and said, hey, couldn't we focus a little bit more here? Couldn't we speed up this process here? They often talk about that because they want to have more. So digitalization and speed is certainly moving up my radar screen and my priority list. I don't think we can succeed and stay relevant in the future without taking digitalization seriously. So we have many, many projects going on in this area here, and we'll continue to focus on this. And it goes, of course, with the last thing on the chart here, change readiness. It is important, of course, because there's a lot of change coming from the outside and also from the inside, that we can absorb that. And I'll be honest with you, it is difficult. We have people that really struggle with this. We talk openly about it, and we also sometimes give them a break. Said, hey, you might need to take a little break here because it's simply too much. We have just cut over to Workday. It was only 10 days ago. So we are getting massive experience in change for everyone in the Lego Group. I'm proud to say that it has gone super well. So it is something that we will probably book as a success for the year. But my team will also remind me it's not over yet. Payroll is one of the big areas that we are in charge of as well. And I'll be honest with you, I've been a little worried if everything would be okay. And so far, so good. So I started my meeting talking a little bit about the masterpieces and the creativity today. Well, let's get back to that. I don't know if you have had time to build, but I hope you have. And maybe you can show me what you have built. And if there is somebody that is daring enough to show me. Maybe you haven't built anything. Oh, that's nice. There's one there. Any others? Oh, that's not a lot of daring people here. That's nice. Oh, a heart. Sweet. Well, can you come up to me on the stage? I really like that. What's your name?
Michael.
Michael?
Yeah.
Will you tell us, Michael, what you have built?
Initially, it's supposed to be a bicycle, but it looks like a scooter. So it's something like that.
Super nice.
Super nice. And I was inspired a little bit by the beautiful weather, colorful city. So I wish I would have my bicycle here and would ride a little bit on my bicycle here in Portugal.
Of course.
So that would be nice.
Michael, just stay on here. I have a little thing for you. So, Candice, you had the Batman thing in the beginning. This is for you, Michael.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, perfect. I love that.
Congratulations. Maybe you'll have some fun with the family. Yeah, you can get the bag as well. It's getting better and better. That's all I have for you. Thank you so much, and good luck with your GBS.
Thank you, Morten, and this is why we had you back, so be sure to look out for your invitation for next year.
Yeah.
Now, Morten, you know it's been a long few days. My creativity isn't too good at the moment, so do you like my duck?
Oh, that is so sweet, Candice.
Morten, we've got some questions for you that have come in. The first one, what are your key lessons learned from embarking on the Center Office strategy?
Well, first of all, I think it's super important that you as a team come together. So you gotta have enough time to really understand what it means, because it means different things to different people. And that was a little difficult for us in the beginning. So we spent a lot of time making sure that we understood what this meant to us. And then we sort of started to build the pieces together. And then we just talked a lot about it. So I think, first of all, making sure, especially your key leaders, that they really understand it, and then later on that they embrace it and talk to it.
Fantastic, thank you. How integral has process mining been to your continued evolution as a GBS?
I would say it's super important right now, but it is just the beginning. We have worked with this for about a year now, and we believe that this will be so important for us in the future as well. It certainly is creating a lot of excitement also with the people in the GPS, getting to work with these modern tools. So this is certainly on their development is very important as well. Our stakeholders are amazed because they start to see us as a technology-enabled organization. So from that angle, very important, but it's early days.
Yeah.
So,
brilliant, thank you. That's a totally different one, yeah. Where are the locations of your GBS centers?
Yeah, we actually have 5 locations. We have just opened one, or at least classified it as a location. So we are in the Czech Republic, we are in Monterrey in Mexico, we are in Singapore, we are in Billund, where we have our headquarters, and then we have also selected China in Shanghai as a hub. We are booming in China. Of course, China has been super challenged this year, but we have a very strong booming business in China. So we want to be close to that and make sure that we can sort of serve them as close to the business as possible. So that's the 5 locations we have.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Right, Morten, that is all we have time for, but it's been fantastic to see you again, as always. Thank you so much.
Thank you.